Hello, welcome to Morning Oddities.
Uh-huh.
hmm I always hate it when Zoom interrupts me. Whenever you record, like sometimes I enjoy starting the podcast just on natural conversation.
I also hate when Zoom interrupts me when the Tim Allen uh children's movie Zoom interrupts me. Have
What?
you seen that?
A long time ago. Never.
I watched
Sorry,
it
let me turn my gain up, but never thought about it before.
I watched it recently.
What brought you down that road, may I
My
ask?
partner put it on. I think
Okay.
it's on Disney Plus or something.
It
Um, and that is such a frustrating movie to me because I think the first two acts of the movie, the
the
first
Timu
the
Sky
first
High.
yeah, the first two thirds of the movie are not that bad. I mean, they're what you'd expect going into a movie like that, but they're not that bad. And it just very, very quickly goes very downhill.
I remember Tim Allen has the power to uh what's his power again?
Uh,
Like super strength. Or no, I thought it was something cooler. Or no, he's fast.
yeah,
Hence Zoom, I guess. Um, I remembered I for some reason I can uh with total recall a scene of him using his finger as a blender,
yeah,
just
yeah,
wiggling
yeah.
it fast.
He's got super speed abilities, and they were a group of
Yeah,
children.
all that Bolivian marching powder does wonders.
This was the era of him on a lot of cocaine still,
Yes.
I think. It was like the early 2000s.
What wasn't the era? Uh,
Yeah. It's quite a movie. It's
anyways, yeah, welcome back. Morning oddities, just shoot the shit. And I remember when we tried to keep it clean for a while.
I
And
mean
obviously,
yeah,
not the odd drunk pod, but we're
I
gonna
mean
be
it's
ourselves.
still try to keep it not like explicit, but
Speaking of explicit, I recently saw The Substance.
what's that? I don't know what that is.
Uh it was up for Oscars. I don't know if it was up for Best Picture, but Demi Moore
Okay.
and Margaret Qualley. It's kind of like an A24. It's not A24, but it feels like that.
What yeah, okay, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's she is this like has been celebrity that takes this mysterious substance that someone tells her about, and it basically makes a clone of yourself that hatches from your back,
Oh,
like crawls out of you, and then it's a young clone of yourself.
that's weird.
And then you have to switch consciousness each week between your old self and your clone self, and it becomes it's a body horror movie, but
It's weird.
I would
It's a weird
not.
concept.
It's like The Fly. I think a good way to describe that. Well, it's criticisms on the expectations of Hollywood and just for women in general, just always
Yeah.
trying to stay young, and she's trying to regain her youth, all those things. Um, but
But is it as entertaining as Jeff Goldblum in The Fly?
no, but it definitely gets as gross or worse. Um, but it's I think a good way to describe it is kind of The Fly meets in some aspects, well, there's straight up shining references,
hmm
visual references. The hallway, the
Uh,
bathroom, things like that.
yeah,
Which the director was just a fan of it and just wanted to throw some things in the sets.
learned.
And
Whenever I watch a
big
movie and I
Stanley
see a
Kubrick fan.
Shining reference,
Oh,
I'm just like,
there's
what a
a
fucking nerd.
2001 Space Odyssey reference. There's multiple Stanley. It's
Ah,
almost a
nice.
love letter to Cronenberg and Stanley Kubrick at the same time.
Ah,
That's
I
kind of what I get from it.
I like Stanley Kubrick.
But then you also just see a lot of just
I'm not a
buck
huge
ass
fan of.
nude, buck ass nude Demi Moore.
In a good way or a bad way?
Bad ways?
Okay.
Mostly bad ways. Yeah, when she hatches from herself.
Yeah, because I'm like that doesn't sound
There's
like
a on the
saying that just by itself doesn't sound bad, but if you're also
Conan
saying plus body horror, I'm like that doesn't sound good.
Conan hosted the Oscars, as we all know. I didn't really catch up with him.
Yeah, I
I
didn't
did
watch
watch
it.
I did watch the best animated film. I'll tell you about that.
Uh
But Conan hosted, and then the intro, it's a scene from Substance where Demi Moore injects the substance,
and
and
then
then
Conan comes
Conan
out the
crawls out
back.
of her in the full suit and everything, and he leaves a shoe, and he's like, "I got to dig my shoe out of Demi Moore's lifeless corpse."
That's pretty
It's,
good. That's
it's
the
great. And and of
I,
course when he comes out, he points Demi Moore out in the audience. It was like, wow, that was quite an experience. And then
I do like Conan. He's
oh, he's the GOAT.
yeah.
If we could if you want to tangent for a moment,
Yeah.
yeah, I think out of all the late night talk show hosts, at least in the modern, not 90s plus era,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't feel like I would be a good judge on
On
some of the older
older
hosts,
stuff. Yeah. I mean, I've watched clips of older stuff, but I've not like
like Johnny
extens
Carson,
yeah,
and
I've not like
it's just
extensively
different
what I
sensibilities.
mean, who goes back and watches old talk show
Well, I
like
mean,
full episodes?
some things like revise them, like
Hmm.
up the quality and whatever. But I like the old quality. It brings you. It's a time capsule.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of well, I watch Johnny Carson clips every occasion on YouTube,
Hmm.
just clips of celebrities, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, but which is funny how it's there's clips. Well, late night show hosts will have their own YouTube channels for
Yeah.
their show where they just post clips of the show.
I feel like that's how a lot of people consume those shows these days.
Yeah,
TikTok and Instagram and
who
Facebook
really
and
sits on
YouTube.
it? Yeah, watching through all the commercials. Like we're gonna sit down and watch Jimmy Fallon
Yeah.
for an hour. No
But
way.
I think Conan's the best.
Yes.
He's actually funny. I
I like
think.
his dry sense of humor. He doesn't try. Well, sometimes he will try too hard, but that's inevitably what makes it funny. But
Yeah.
he, you can tell he's himself, but he's just got good comedic timing, and
I think more
he's
often on his show, it feels like the guests are also having actually having a good time.
yeah, everyone's having a good
It's
time.
another reason why
He'll have a real
Not an
conversation,
American primetime host, but the Graham Norton show. I like watching clips of that
like Graham Norton.
because it's kind of like everyone does seem like they're have actually kind of having a good
Yeah,
time.
Graham Norton's good. Well, I
Um,
like how he has the open conversation with multiple people.
yeah.
Um,
Um, I did like
Weird
when it was
conversation.
on the air. It's the show that James Corden ended up hosting, but before James Corden, it was
A late show or whatever.
yeah, it was Craig Ferguson. And I liked that he wasn't super long lasting on it, but I
Right.
liked him because it was really stupid and weird. Like you know how late night shows always have like their little sidekick
Bits
host?
and oh, sidekick host, yeah.
His sidekick host was a medical skeleton
Oh, that's pretty good.
that was just like propped up on a stand. Oh,
Hannibal's still the best sidekick host.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
Does the Eric Andre show even count like at all?
I don't
I mean,
know.
technically,
Eric Andre does it. He's an exception to every rule. He's
Yeah.
he's just doesn't.
He does get old after a while, personally.
Yeah, but
Just shock value
the
humor.
best bits are my
But
favorite
it
my
is
favorite
good.
Eric Andre bit of all time is when he has the little person dressed as him
Oh
and then the
yeah.
little person dressed as his guest come out and sit in front of them and mimic the conversation.
That was good.
That's the best.
Didn't he do that with
I
Jenna
don't even,
McCurdy or who was it?
I don't remember who was on the show with him. I just remember
I
the little
like when he
people.
goes out in the street and just yells at people,
Yeah.
like with the ranch guy. He's like, "You
The
want to hit
the
up some of this ranch?
the let me in is the classic
Let me in."
classic
Yeah, yeah,
meme at
yeah.
this point.
Yeah, when he does or when he just starts smashing
Yeah.
things in front of the guest. I think there was one. You know who I would love to see on the Eric Andre show, and it may have happened.
Hmm.
Bill Burr.
Oh,
I would
that
love
was
someone just no nonsense,
yeah.
dry sense of humor, just rip into his whole shtick and like not get because Bill he would go along with it, but to the extent of just to make fun of it.
Yeah.
Like I don't
I
think
don't
anything would
I think Bill
catch him
Burr
off
is one of
guard.
those like sometimes I can't tell if he's being serious or if he's just going along with the bit
Yeah,
because sometimes I think he is like actually like fed up with shit, but sometimes I think he's doing a character at least a little bit.
it's definitely a bit of a
Um,
character when you actually listen to him on podcast.
yeah.
I mean, that's definitely a core part of his personality.
Yeah, like there's a little
But
bit of it's like the Larry David thing where if you've watched
mhm,
Curb Your Enthusiasm, it's like on one hand the character that Larry David is playing in the show is him and he is like that
it's
to an extent, but it's very like
it's heightened.
it's high
It's
yeah, it's heightened in the show. It's more
it's
exaggerated in the show than it
a
actually
romanticized version
yeah,
of their
you know.
personality.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, I have nothing against Jimmy Fallon personally.
I like Jimmy Fallon. I don't like his show that much.
He just laughs at everything.
Like
He just agrees with it and just I don't know.
yeah, I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if it's that he doesn't have enough edge to him. I saw
I
one of his writers say, and he was fired. Well, not fired, but I think he just let go of the show, layoffs. And I think before the writer strike, when then they just started doing shows like monologue, no monologue, just interviews.
right.
Um, but yeah, one of the writers that left the show said he would prevent him skits, and if anything was edgy or didn't make him appear to be liked by everyone, they would often take those off the drawing board.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much so wants to be the
I I
kind of
think
meet in
the
middle of America.
Jimmy Fallon's his strength of his show is they do like their little games with the guests.
He has good games and
That though, like when I'm watching clips online of the shows, that's always the ones I actually enjoy of his was they do little games or little
yeah,
bits. But the actual interviews and monologues and things like that, I mean, he's not bad, but yeah, he's just also not that great either.
he's mid. No, but there's good edits of Jimmy Fallon with Joaquin Phoenix.
Hmm.
And then there's another one with the Rizzler, the Boom Boys or whatever. No, the Costco boys.
Oh, nice.
They just run around and make TikToks in Costco's.
Nice. Yeah.
But anyways, I want to get into obviously we have the next Odd Drunk pod coming up.
Yeah.
It's giving me anxiety to an extent
Uh,
because Well, we've been busy, of course.
Yeah, we meant to get this out earlier
Oh,
this
we
week.
have one more.
I
We have one more before the 200th episode. So the
oh
next episode can be anything.
yeah.
But we got to start putting that together.
Um we were gonna
I
get this
just,
episode out earlier. I
yeah.
texted you like half of the week when one of the days we were gonna record, and I was just like, hey, not tonight. And honest,
Yeah.
if I'm being totally honest, it was because I was just in a really bad mood. And I was like, I
That no,
would
no, I do
yeah.
not want to record in a bad mood or in the wrong
Yeah,
headspace.
I
One,
was
I
grumpy.
yeah, one I want us to get into genuine arguments or like and frustrated with each other, even
Yeah.
though I think in the right context that could be a good laugh. But yeah, generally, yeah, I have to be in the mood to record. There's some nights where I've told you it's not gonna work, blah blah blah. It's really
Hmm.
because I'm just not in the mood,
Yeah.
or maybe I'm
And
just mentally drained. I don't feel like
and this
talking.
week it was just very, very busy at work, and
Hmm.
that day was just like one of those where
Oh
I was
yeah,
just like I
give
didn't
me an
have a
old
moment of
fashioned.
free time from 8 a.m. until when I left at 5.
Yeah,
Like,
that
and I
definitely
was
have
just
busy,
like, no,
just
sorry.
nonstop. But in the meantime, I've watched. Well, I've seen the new Daredevil Born Again.
Yes.
They released first two episodes premiere,
Uh-huh.
and
And I
pretty
watched it too.
high
Yeah.
expectations comparing it to the original Netflix run. That's kind of how I look at it. I like that it's a continuation, but it's just a different show, a different feel, a different
Yeah.
not a, it's not like it's not suddenly a different.
Like
It still keeps the same like ideas and tone, but
it's like
still
this
definitely got a different
balance. It's
direction.
it's like this
Or
balance of like it's a different show. You don't have to have watched the Netflix show to jump in,
you
but
know what,
it
honestly,
also kind of assumes that most of its audience is at least aware of the Netflix
it's
show.
like a run after of a character, a run of Daredevil, like in the comics.
Hmm.
Like let's say after Devil's Reign or the actual Frank Miller's Born Again, it's like the run that takes place after that. That's still just as good, but its own direction.
Yeah.
You have different cooks in the kitchen, but it still has the same. And to, um, I guess associate with comics, it would be like you have the same writers, but you have different artists, you have
Hmm.
different inkers, like different
Like it's
creative head of the show of the run
yeah.
of the show. And when it first came, I or not when it first, I remember hearing that Kevin Feige saw like the first five episodes, and it was just a
Hmm.
law procedural, and it wasn't M-rated, and he didn't get a suit until like episode five or something like that.
Yeah.
And he was just like, no. And he fired that creative team.
Oh,
I don't, well, maybe not fired, but repurposed or whatever they want to call it. But, and he basically just got the guys that did the original
yeah.
Netflix show that worked on the Netflix show, the same fight coordinator and everything like that.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the same, right? Not all the same creative, not the showrunner, but a lot of the same writers. And you
I
could
mean,
definitely,
it's definitely the first two episodes. There's not a ton of action, but the action that is there.
yeah, I think it's a good build up,
I mean, well, good build up. I'm like,
but
I
also
mean,
the first 15
yeah.
minutes,
I don't think I've
they
seen an
kill, spoiler
opening.
alert, first 15 minutes, they kill off a major character,
Yeah.
um,
Um.
Foggy, and the whole Bullseye Daredevil fight.
Oh.
And like when it first shows that Bullseye kill the fly with the paper clip and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, the whole fight, yeah, there's a bit of CGI mixed in because they're trying to bring it a bit more comic
It's
like with the
yeah,
movements and like he can swing around like Spider-Man and like a
yeah.
lot more acrobatics and like flashy.
It's bridging the gap a little bit more into like what you'd expect out of an MCU type of
Exactly.
thing a little
But
bit,
it
but
still
still
has
feels
the
like the same Daredevil.
physicality. Yeah, it still has the same physicality. They're still stopping to take a breath and like you visibly tired, visibly injured,
Yeah.
and just wired. But but like when he's just tanking, because originally Daredevil was trying to dodge and deflect everything Bullseye throws at him. In this, he's just tanking it.
Yeah.
A lot of the hits. Like
It was
multiple, a
knives sticking out of
dozen
him.
daggers stuck in it. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
got the armor
I mean, I
protects
gotta
to a
say,
degree,
like,
but I just love that.
I don't know what I expected going into the show, but like I didn't expect the show to basically open with like a massacre
Oh yeah, Bullseye,
followed with
yeah,
a fight
goes
scene.
on a just a
Um,
killing spree, active shooter situation.
and
Not only takes out Foggy, but
I'm
kills like two bystanders,
I
and
think the
then
last time that I recall the opening to a show, like the first episode of a show hooking me that quickly
mhm,
was Breaking Bad.
yeah,
I think
yeah,
was the last time I recall being like sitting there being like, "Oh my
okay, I'm
God."
in. Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah, and that's how you do not a reboot, not fourth season, but a revival of the characters,
yeah,
but in a new story.
yeah,
And how do you do that? You have to have a bombshell in the beginning
yeah.
that
It,
shifts the entire dynamic and who you're working with. And also, we haven't even mentioned, and yeah, Charlie Cox, I think, is a great Matt Murdock. I
yeah.
love the supporting cast with Karen and Foggy, Rip. But
I love the
Vincent
idea that
D'Onofrio.
you get to by the end of the second episode of like he kind of likes this.
Oh yeah.
Like he
Well, and
like
Vincent
he
D'Onofrio, Kingpin, great.
oh my
Just having
God.
them all back and like I love the diner conversation. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorite conversations in a movie.
Yeah.
Just one on one, just monologuing at each other, kind of, but also being very respectful. And like, I wish some politicians would act that way, even with their adversaries.
Yeah.
But just very like, it's not entirely, uh, or what does he say? It's not entirely unpleasant to meet
Yeah.
you again. Um, and just, and also, it's all in all the trailers and everything, but Kingpin Fisk runs for mayor
Yeah.
New York and he wins. And that's got ramifications. And he's not just coming after, I think it's made pretty clear, he's not just coming after Matt Murdock if he comes back as Daredevil, which we know he is, but he's also coming after other vigilantes. He mentions
Yeah.
Punisher and even Spider-Man, which would be a long shot for
Yeah.
Spider-Man to appear, but not impossible. I think
Yeah. And it
they
would
can
be
use Spider-Man in a show.
he is a this that's a character that would make sense for a cameo
Yeah,
if
he's street
they
level
were
now.
allowed to
It's,
do that.
I think, well, yeah, Sony would have to play ball, but I think if you have just a masked, it never takes just a masked Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You could have Tom Holland do voice over a stuntman, so he's not there on set,
Yeah.
but they've already interacted with each other, which is something
Hmm.
I forget about. But I cannot wait
Yeah,
for John
I was
Bernthal,
just
Punisher.
watching because I've been watching through some MCU stuff and I was just watching No Way Home.
Oh yeah.
And I think the interaction with Matt Murdock in that movie is actually one of my favorite like cameo moments in an MCU movie because it's so well
Well,
done.
most of my audience, only like four guys clapped.
Yeah.
And when Charlie Cox went to see it, like he hit it and he said silence. It was just
Yeah.
But
No,
the
I
real
remember
fans
watching it just
obviously,
being like, oh my God,
yeah.
it's him.
Um, but no, I'm loving it so far, honestly.
Yeah.
It's obviously we've only seen 2 episodes, but the direction it's going with the power dynamic, Kingpin is mayor, this cat and mouse, and Matt trying to just be a normal person, trying to just be a lawyer, and but then gets back into it again when he's representing White Tiger, which
Yeah.
that's cool, and uh, that we have another new character in the mix.
Yeah.
Um, but but yeah, him holding back all that rage and anger since Foggy died. But when he just tosses, or no, just flips Bullseye over the roof, he
Yeah.
was definitely trying to kill him.
Yeah.
That would kill any normal person, but he has the adamantium spine, or whatever they. I know in the comics at least he has the adamantium skeleton or
Yeah.
something like
I don't
that.
know. I'm not like I have a surface level understanding of Bullseye as a character.
Yeah, there's
Like,
more than meets the eye.
yeah. Yeah.
But but I love that actor, Benjamin Poindexter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think he was great. It was cool seeing him cosplaying as Daredevil in the last, Kingpin hired him and whatever.
Hmm.
But seeing him in a more closer to comic book look,
Yeah.
bullseye suit, still modernized and, more street practical.
Hmm.
Doesn't have the bullseye on his forehead or carved into his forehead like Colin Farrell's version.
Yeah.
Um,
He doesn't have it
but he has the
on his gloves though.
yeah, and he
Right.
has all his knives on him and like he's proper bullseye and it's like
Yeah.
um but anyways, I love the mayor oral campaign stuff only works. Like otherwise it would feel like just a cheap version of Succession or some political show.
Hmm.
But it works so well because you're dealing with this character that we know what he's capable of, and
Yeah.
just his little ticks. Like Vincent D'Onofrio does such an amazing
He's
job, like
he's
playing a man that wants to slam your face into the wall,
yeah.
but he can't and he won't because he's trying to be
He's the highlight, I think,
exactly.
acting
Oh,
wise of the show.
but then Matt Murdock is also trying to be normal, also just trying to stay in the light, right,
Yeah,
and
and
just do
also wants to slam your face into a wall.
yeah, and he
They
does
both
the
just want to
whole
slam
scene.
people's faces into
Yeah.
walls, just
And
for different
the
reasons.
whole scene where he shows up to the witness's apartment
Oh
and
my
the
gosh,
dirty
yeah.
cops are coming after him and they start beating him up and he says, "Don't do this, please."
Yeah,
And they pulled a gun on him and they're like, "We're gonna kill the lawyer or what?" And then he just goes
just
like
yeah, basically
berserker
yeah,
mode.
murders them. Like, I mean,
Yeah, breaks the guy's arm
they don't
backwards and then
say that
slams
exactly, but it seemed
slams his
like he
head in the
murdered them.
refrigerator and like breaks his neck on the ground. Like he definitely the whole joke of like, oh, Batman doesn't kill, but he just put you in a vegetable state coma. Yeah, I feel like at this point in the story, I think he's gonna let that rage take over for a bit, and especially when he runs into Punisher again.
Yeah,
Um, is that think maybe gonna enforce it? Or maybe Punisher won't want him to go down that path.
right.
Because in the comics, even Punisher tells, or he tells like people wearing the Punisher logo, like the copycats and people that look up to him, and he's like,
Uh-huh.
"You want a hero to look up to? Look at the Captain America."
Yeah. Yeah, I do like in the comics, Punisher is he's one of he's like he's going and murdering bad guys.
He doesn't.
But he understands what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing he's going to hell,
Yeah, like
but he doesn't give a
he
shit. Like he
knows he's
doesn't want.
doing like what he's doing is wrong.
Yeah,
He knows it's not the heroic thing to do. He just doesn't give a fuck.
he doesn't give a fuck. But he doesn't
Um,
want other people going down the path, especially people with the wrong intentions.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, seeing the Punisher logo on the tattoo,
Yeah.
interesting wrinkle. But no, I just really loving it. Um, yeah, is it gonna be as good as the first season? The first breakout season that established this pocket of the MCU.
Hmm.
Who's to say? But I could definitely see it being on level of like season two
Yeah.
or
I
even three, really. With really with Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox both back on board. And even
yeah.
just the way they talk about it in interviews, they're so passionate
I think
and
I'm just really glad to see Charlie Cox back, just in general.
mhm.
I was glad he was in She-Hulk for that brief appearance.
Yeah,
Um, I think,
one of the best episodes of that show.
yeah. I
And
think in
like I
gen
actually liked their dynamic too.
yeah, they're fun.
So I'm not
Um,
just a Daredevil shill.
I generally actually kind of like that show. I mean, it wasn't perfect, but I enjoyed it.
Just jump the
Um,
shark,
yeah, yeah. Oh,
say the
that
least.
last episode was rough, but the
Yeah.
rest of it, I mostly enjoyed. Um, but I just think out of the all of the people who are currently in the MCU, all the actors, the one I'm most excited for is Charlie Cox
Yeah.
because it's like you have these other actors who have like you have your Chris Hemsworth and your Robert Downey Jr. and these characters who are either gone or they're still around sort of, but only
Hmm.
sort of, you know.
Well,
And
no, it's just nice to see his story continue
yeah, well
and to see
it's just this Charlie Cox as Daredevil. It's like technically he's not been in the MCU until recently, but he's been Daredevil for a long
MCU
time.
adjacent.
Yeah, so it's fun to see him back,
Yeah.
continuing that.
And yeah, it's nice to see it back with just as brutal tone.
Yeah.
Like anyone that says they're watering it down or Disneyfying it has not
You
watched
s-
those two
yeah,
episodes. I
yeah,
mean, you
you see
see
bone go through arm.
Bone go through arm, you see Bullseye
That's
just massacre like a dozen people at a bar,
yeah.
just anyone in his way.
Yeah,
Um,
I think that
they
opening is
kill off
still
a major favorite character, Matt Murdock's best friend and partner at law,
I
Foggy
didn't know that
Nelson.
he specifically was gonna die, but like
It was gonna be either him or Karen with the
it was
Born Again
it was
storyline.
one of those things where like I saw the pin hit the fly and I was like, "Oh, Bullseye. He's
Yeah,
probably gonna
Bullseye's
murder
coming.
someone."
Yeah,
That's
as
like his MO.
he's good at murdering. Yeah, yeah.
That's his thing in a big
Um,
Daredevil story. Is Bullseye comes around and murders someone, and then Daredevil has to deal with it.
he doesn't like
Um,
it.
and then he just kept murdering people.
Yeah,
And I remember sitting there, I was sitting there being like, "Oh
just
my
the
God,
brutality of it.
what?"
The brutality of him tossing him off the roof, like crying, why? And then
Yeah,
and the scene with the dirty cops, after he it beats them, uh, it just lets out a primal scream, and I
yeah,
always love it. Like they'll have, and I hope they do it again. And I know they're gonna do it again. I always love it when Matt and Wilson Fisk, they can have a respectable conversation with each other and like understand each other. And he's even like, maybe you are, you know, gonna turn out to be good or do the right thing for the city. But if you fuck up or if you if
yeah,
you do anything, I'll be there. And then Fisk, of course, retorts, well, if you operate as your alter ego, I'll use the full, powers of our law enforcement to come after you.
yeah.
But I can't wait until they just get in the fight again, like at the end of the show, and then whenever they just scream at each other, um, just two men who can't help but unleash their rage dark side,
Yeah,
and that's something that he comes to terms with. Well, that they both can't come to terms with right now. They both want it,
yeah.
but they're
It's
trying to be someone else. They're
it's
trying to be.
the who in the episode is the one that points out he's like when he goes like when you were on that building with Poindexter,
Oh, Kingpin.
you enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And that's like it's exactly that where it's like no, he would never admit even to himself that he did, but you put him in a room with some dirty cops who are about to try to murder him and he kind of enjoys it.
Yeah,
He would never admit it, but he does.
yeah, and that's something. Yeah, I'm excited to see how that plays out throughout the show.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm pretty hyped for the next episode.
I've also watched Invincible. I don't know if you're caught up on it.
I am not.
Then I won't spoil a whole lot, but the last episode was a pretty major arc in the comics.
Hmm.
Um, some multiverse shenanigans, but done well, I would say.
Nice.
Um, but now what's coming up? We're basically getting Glenn versus Negan in
Hmm.
Invincible with
Nice.
Jeffrey D. Morgan and Stephen Young.
Yeah.
Um, because Jeffrey D. Morgan is Conquest. He's one of the
Uh,
Viltrumite enforcers.
yeah. Yeah, I'm vaguely familiar with the character.
Yeah, and so that's gonna be the last episode, that fight.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I've been watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Nice.
It's on Tubi, free with ads. Um, and I've been enjoying
The
it.
original
The
or
original
what? Okay,
from 1993.
nice.
It's fun. It's really bad.
Everyone loved the Pink Ranger.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bad.
Oh, well, it's bad in the it's
Fighting in the
like
quarry, but it kind
yeah.
of.
Well, it's because they pull clips from Super Sentai, and
Oh
especially
yeah.
in the first season they do it a little heavier than later on.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just bad, like in a very much like the special
Fun
effects
bad.
are really bad, and it's just bad acting, and it's really cheesy.
But
But when they
it's so
turn
fun.
to the camera and look straight at you and go, "It's morphin' time," and the guitar starts shredding, and then it
Yeah,
ends with two guys in rubber suits going at each other because
rad.
most episodes end with a giant monster in the Megazord,
Yep.
as you do.
Hmm.
And it's fun. It's a good time. I mean,
Yeah. I would.
and they do a good job at doing this. Like every once in a while they just up the ante. So
Hmm.
they start out with it's just the Megazord,
Then
and
it's the
then the
Ultra
Megazord's not
Megazord.
enough.
Yeah.
So they have to get the Green Ranger. When the Green Ranger wins them, he gets the Dragon Zord, and the
Yep.
Dragon Zord can morph with the Megazord. And there's one episode I was watching recently. It's like it was a multi-episode arc where it was like one of the bad guys' henchmen had his own like robot Zord, his War Zord,
Hmm.
and the Warzord could adapt. So they were like they used the Megazord. They tried using the Dragon Zord. They tried using the Ultra Zord. They tried getting Titanus to join with their Zord, and it was just wasn't working. And then they were like, you were like, oh shit. And then they're like, what you have to do to defeat him is to switch forms a bunch of times really fast, so he can't keep up with like your tactics.
Oh.
And that's how you be excellent TV. Excellent television. Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Uh, I'm surprised there's not any more like Power Rangers games. I mean, there's some,
I mean, there's a lot
but
of them.
like,
They just usually go under the radar.
are mobile.
I've I know there's a
I know
mobile
there's the
game I've
Street
not
Fighter.
played. They did like a recently like a I don't there's one that released within the last few years. It's like I think it's like a beat 'em up
Hmm.
type of game. I've not played it or anything, but
I thought the Shredder's Revenge guys did that.
maybe they
Are
did.
working on one.
The art style seems very similar. Maybe it's the same
Yeah,
people. Yeah, I saw some
same
clips of it.
sprites.
I don't know much about it, but
Um, I've I've been playing Kingdom Come, playing Marvel Rivals.
nice.
So there's not too much different going on with my gaming.
Yeah,
I
I've
found
just
my
been playing Kingdom
I've
Come.
been scratching. Oh yeah. Uh, I did
Mod
the
support releases
Nomad.
this week.
I went drinking with the I went drinking the Nomads at their
Oh,
camp and did
nice.
that whole quest chain.
That's a good one.
Um, and I realized it took me this long to realize that Maybe if I'm not just covered in bloody plate armor, I will actually get good charisma checks.
Yeah.
So I bought myself some trousers and
Should clean
a
Henry up a little
clean
bit.
a nice hat,
A
like a
nice hat
Robin
goes
Hood
a
hat.
Yeah, a nice hat goes a long way. Yeah.
And I'm getting some speech checks now, and people aren't just talking down to me or like,
Yeah,
look at this
I
maniac.
I have two main outfits. One is my like traveling slash like just
Fight,
like
like
regular
fight
running
out.
around outfit. So
Okay,
it's got good charisma um stats on it, but it also does have a what do you call it?
plate,
Not a plate, brigandine.
chest, a brigandine. Oh yeah,
Yeah. So it's got some protection, but it's got good charisma stats and looks
it's just a
nice.
good all around
It's a good all around, yeah. But
outfit.
I do
Okay.
have my full like armor set that I can switch to, and the ability to have multiple outfits you can switch between with a press of a button is really nice.
Oh yeah, I love that. Um, I did end up getting a new horse though.
Yeah, didn't stick with pebbles.
No, I got Soldier,
Mm,
the
nice.
Roman horse.
Yeah, I'm still with pebbles, but I'm not gonna be
I feel
loyal to him
bad.
because he's a little shit.
He's a little shit.
He's
But
gotten me
yeah,
killed multiple times.
yeah. But no, I love that whole quest and just actually listening to the dialogue. I was actually into it. Elder Scrolls 6 is gonna be compared to so many games now.
Yeah,
Um, but I feel like they kind of have to, and people are gonna say, "Oh, you're just ripping it off of." But I feel like some of the things in this game should be implemented, and
yeah,
I mean, with a Bethesda spin on it, I guess. But like stuff like your armor actually matters, like, and not just for damage stats and defense stats, but for actual interactions with people.
yeah.
Things like that. Like if you're
Interactions with people, or even stuff like if you're wearing
make
heavy armor,
comments at
your
least. I
character will
mean,
get exhausted. It doesn't happen
yeah.
often, but in the game in KCD
Hmm.
2, there's been a few times where I'm running around in my full armor
Hmm.
and I'm running around for a long time, and I Henry gets physically tired,
Hmm.
you know?
And not just a stamina bar going down. Like there has
Yeah.
to be a
Which
bit
which is
more.
why like I have an outfit that I'll wear when just for traveling when I'm not expecting to
Hmm.
be in combat because it's got some
Right.
protection, but it's like, so I can run around, you know.
I'm really loving the combat now, by the way.
Yeah.
Got the Master Strikes. That's a
Yeah.
game changer. Just
I'm
getting
I'm
the
to the
Master
point
Strike.
now where I'm not getting pwned by every fucking bandit that comes
No, I
across
can
now.
I
I
can
can
take on
actually
enemies one on one, even two on one. More than that, I have to try to spread them out.
Mhm.
But
I can take on
I
three
took
or
out a camp of like five enemies, but I just like one at a time, basically.
yeah, I can take
Um,
on three to four
there's
at
good
once
stealth in it.
if I have armor
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah,
and
that's
can
true.
tank some
Full.
hits. But if I can't take some hits, it's like two enemies is what I can handle.
Hmm.
Um, but like recently I did a quest where I
Just the
went and
Master
I had to
Strikes.
clear out a bandit camp for Jules or whatever his name
Oh yeah,
is.
Giles.
Giles, yeah.
Jules, yeah.
I stole his armor.
Really?
You can just sneak into his where he sleeps and steal it from his chest. And if you just don't wear it around him, he never knows.
Right.
I don't trust him anyway.
How far is that in the quest chain?
Uh, I mean, as soon as you're at the point where he's at the castle,
Yeah.
yeah, or Lord Samin's like manor
Yeah.
or whatever it is, you can just do it then. Because
Okay.
he hangs out at the castle, so if you find out where he sleeps, you can just sneak in at night, and if you can pickpocket a key off of a guard, and then you can
Oh,
just find his chest and
I want that
steal
armor.
steal all his shit. Yeah, it
Yeah,
takes
I
a
want
while
that.
for the stolen status to go away on that, but
Right. Because
um,
everyone will know you're wearing his armor. And
yeah.
just stuff like that.
I saw some
I
clip
love
where I don't know the context. This is later in the game, but I saw a clip where I guess the quest was like you were tasked with killing a guy and getting his armor and bringing it to someone,
yeah.
and it was armor that had like a like a heraldry on it, like you
Okay.
can and it was just a clip of him Henry interacting with the quest giver, and it has the option to lie, and Henry's wearing the armor. Yeah, I killed him, but I wasn't able to get the armor. And the NPC goes, what do you think I'm fucking blind? You're wearing it.
I love that. No, it has to have it's an immersion like that. Um,
I think that's the strength of the game is that type of
immersion.
immersion. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
there's the immersion, like the hunger and the alchemy and the way you have to do that. That's all
mhm.
great. But like the immersion of like if
It's
you
interactive.
steal a piece of
Yeah.
armor from an NPC and then put it on and walk up to them, they're gonna notice.
Or like when I steal the golden claw and try to sell it back to
Yeah,
the riverbed trader.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um, yeah,
but hey, at least I'm pretty sure it's still coming out this year. Sky Oblivion
yeah.
is supposed to release, and it's amazing work that they've done, and just the fact that well they can't charge for it because it's a mod.
Yeah.
Um,
And you have to have
I'm
both. You have to
shocked
have
though.
both games.
I'm almost shocked that Bethesda hasn't caught. Well, I know they've caught wind of this but they've let it go on, obviously. Um, I'm almost shocked that Bethesda just hasn't approached them for the
Uh,
actual
yeah, and
Oblivion
just been like, can we give you
remaster.
some
Like,
resources
we'll give you resources.
to
We'll give you the
polish
full
this and
play
just
box. You can get a new version of the creation engine, all this stuff, and we will
yeah.
make a
I
deal here,
I
and we
mean,
can sell it as a release,
yeah,
and you'll
but
profit
but
X amount.
I also know that the creators with Sky Oblivion because
I love that it's
they
free.
rely a lot on volunteer work.
Hmm.
I mean, completely on volunteer work.
Yeah.
They every once in a while they do a little fundraiser thing, and
Hmm.
and they do the fundraiser to specifically keep their website running.
Hmm.
And I've actually at one time they did a live stream fundraiser, and I remember I was watching it, and he like at one point to the stream was just like, "Yep, we're cutting off donations now because we have exactly how much we need to pay to
Well,
keep the website running for another year. So no more donations."
I like that.
Um,
But that's
so
my most anticipated release, actually, a mod.
yeah, yeah, I've been following it like for geez, a decade.
And I'm gonna play it like I would play any new game
Yeah.
and treat it the same way because everything I've seen and the things they've even expanded on, like certain cities,
Hmm.
they've actually expanded on areas and made it
They've
even.
taken they've it seems like, and I don't know, I don't have specific examples of what they've done, but like I know they've kind of combined some of the mechanics from Skyrim and from Oblivion. So
Hmm.
like because Oblivion has the mechanics are a little deeper, but a
Yeah,
lot of people feel that they can be a little clunkier too,
yeah.
versus Skyrim is more shallow, but it's a lot more streamlined and easier.
Well,
So
yeah,
I
it's
know that
still
they've
Skyrim below all of the changes they've made
yeah, so I know that
at its core.
they've still been able to implement a lot of the gameplay stuff from Oblivion, but I know
Hmm.
they've also kind of borrowed ideas from Skyrim to kind of stick it into Oblivion. So it's
Hmm.
like if you've played Oblivion, you shouldn't go into Sky Oblivion expecting it to just be Oblivion with better graphics. It's going to be Oblivion with better graphics
And
and
new
also
mechanics and
taking mechanics from Skyrim to kind of polish it.
expanded upon and isn't the Oblivion map like 2 to 3 times bigger than Skyrim's?
Is it?
I've heard a lot of well, it might be misinformation on whether it's bigger or not.
Huh. I don't know.
Um,
I thought Skyrim's map was bigger than Oblivion.
I think it might feel bigger, you know what I mean? But
Yeah. I mean, Oblivion's map is perfectly big. I mean,
yeah, so Oblivion about 60 square kilometers. Shivering Isles adds 10 kilometers to the match. Skyrim is 40 square
oh,
kilometers. So it's
that
a
is.
bit bigger.
Yeah. I know I've seen some
Um,
stuff with the Sky Oblivion team saying like they've done work to in the world space because there's a lot of areas in Oblivion in between the cities and in the wilderness that feel very empty.
I think that's what
Um,
makes
and
a
they and
map feel,
I know that they've done work
yeah.
to fill in those spaces a little bit, make them a little more interesting. I don't know what. I mean, we'll see what it's like when they release it, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
other than that, yeah, the new Doom looks great. The Dark
yeah.
Ages.
When is it? That's soon,
Uh,
isn't it? Like
yeah,
May?
May or something. We also have Assassin's Creed Shadows, which we talked about enough, but it's
Yeah, very soon.
I'm interested to see how the release looks, what people
Yep.
say about it, and you just yeah, the general consensus.
I'm interested in
Um,
that.
Not interested in
I don't-
playing it
yeah, I
until
we'll see.
um
Um,
it goes on sale.
I've been playing a little bit of Spider-Man remastered again,
Oh, really?
just messing around in the open world and stuff.
Oh,
But
nice. Mods.
yeah, just messing around with it. But I know they did a. I don't know.
Spider-Man 2.
It's confusing to me. Spider-Man 2 came out, the PC port.
Hmm.
Um, Performance was apparently just awful,
Yeah.
just across the board, no matter what system you're running it on.
Hmm.
And then a few weeks later, I hear it's now Steam Deck verified.
I heard it's good now.
And I remember seeing that being like, that doesn't make any sense. I heard it's awful on the Steam Deck. But I was reading the other day and people were reporting actually it's very playable on the Steam Deck now. You can
Hmm.
run it on medium settings with the frame gen and get totally playable frames.
Yeah.
But
I
I feel like I still don't
some of the mods
trust
I've seen
that.
some of the
Oh,
mods I've seen are pretty cool. Like they do this mod author made the Spider-Man 3 Venom
ooh,
over the Endgame Venom.
that's cool. Topher
So it's
Grace,
like
you
a
mean?
yeah, so it's like a big bulky version of his Venom and it actually
Huh.
looks good and it suits the design. Different thing. A Todd McFarlane one, I think they did.
Could
The
they do
original
a
design
mod that
Venom
replaces Harry's model
with Topher
with
Grace.
Topher Grace?
Yeah.
I mean, I
That'd
know
be
it's
pretty.
not, or James Franco,
Yeah, that would make more sense because he played that character, but he's
but
problematic.
he's problematic.
Um,
Topher Grace is less problematic.
Less problematic, but some of the that 70 show going
Well,
about super
well, I know
problematic.
there's all the stuff that happened in that '70s show. I know he left the show,
Hmm.
and I think I remember like when that happened because I followed that show when it was on the air. People like gave him a lot of shit for like distancing himself from it, and now people are looking back going, "Oh, maybe he had a good reason to be distancing himself from those
Hmm.
people." Um, I can't watch that show anymore, though. Just
Right,
no.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. Yeah.
I really enjoyed that show, and I cannot bring myself to enjoy it
Hmm.
anymore because of what I know about several of those actors. Um, but
Well, this guy's an Oblivion shill.
what?
Oblivion versus Skyrim map. It's a whole essay. And final word. Skyrim, even with its smaller world, simply tries too hard. It seems to think that it's leading you on some great adventure, when really all it's doing is boring me to death if I can't actually explore the places I'm seeing on my way. I'm trapped in a beeline, not allowed to do what I want when I want, which really is the entire point of these games. That's when Skyrim's philosophy especially hurts, when I specifically plan out things to do in areas that I know the main quest will be taking me by. At that point, I'm forced to drearily march past my spot. You're playing it wrong,
Yeah.
guy. There's
Uh,
plenty of offshoots in Skyrim.
I can tell you exactly the moment that Skyrim hooked
What do
me.
you want the game to do?
Like
What?
I see a lot of that. I see a lot of it on Reddit in the Elder Scrolls fandom, which of course Reddit is like a terrible example,
Oh yeah.
but maybe it's a great example,
Neckbeards.
actually, um, of some of these like more toxic like Elder Scrolls fans because you see so much of just the Morrowind fans hate the Oblivion fans, and the
Oblivion
Oblivion
fans hate
fans hate the
Skyrim
Skyrim
fans.
fans, and the
Skyrim
Skyrim
fans
fans
hate
hate everyone
ESO.
else.
They
And,
hate ESO.
and
Yeah.
ultimately, I think it's all stupid because they're all good games.
But
Even
then he
ESO,
says,
even ESO, I played
yeah,
ESO when it came out.
ESO fans.
It's not my thing because I'm not an MMO guy, but
Yeah.
for an MMO, it's pretty good, I
Hmm.
think. But this is the exact
Yeah, you
moment
get
where that Skyrim hooked me. Was I booted up the game for the first time. I did through went through the Helgen tutorial.
mhm.
I I think I sided with I want to say I sided with Rayloff the first time because I didn't know any better. Because
None of us
like
did.
let's be honest, if you don't know that it really sets you up to like the Stormcloaks and then you realize how much they suck. And I have
Yep.
sided with the Imperials every single time since then.
Same.
Um, um
Or
but
racist fucks.
yeah, and also this is my first Elder Scrolls game, so I didn't know like I had no,
The
I imagine if
lore.
you maybe if you had played Oblivion, you might side with the Imperials or something like
Yeah.
that.
Of course you would.
But but uh so I leave, I side with Rayloff, I leave. I do not follow him because I was not listening to him
Yeah.
because I was uh 14 years old
Yep.
and I was playing on a living room TV that was old even
Right.
at the time. Um, and so I did not listen to him. I ran off into the woods. I came across a hunter. I tried to kill him. It was an intense battle. I barely survived. And then I wandered around trying to figure out where Riverwood was because I knew I was supposed to go there. But my TV screen was cutting off the compass. I didn't know there was a compass in the game for like
Right.
many hours in. I was just looking at my map and like
I was
actually
using the
trying.
map.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was actually pulling up
I
the
came
map
up
and
the
being like,
game.
"Where am I?"
I love playing
Um,
it that way.
and then I fell down a mountainside, and stumbled my way into Riverwood and wandered around for a while until I figured out who the hell I was supposed to talk to. That was my first experience with Skyrim,
Yeah.
and it was
I had a
perfect,
similar
and
experience.
it hooked me on the game.
Um, I ended up making my way inexplicably through Bleak Falls Barrow right after the Helgen, the intro,
Just went straight to
because
the
I saw it.
right.
It looked cool.
Well, of course,
And
it's
I didn't go the right way. I didn't go down the actual trail and across the bridge. No,
you
I
waded through the river.
I waded through the river and then force jumped my way up the mountain. I already figured out those mechanics and made it in the Bleak Falls Barrow. And I was like, wow, this game's hard. Because I was like in a level 12 area or 12 to 15 area right off the bat.
Yeah,
But brute forced my way through Bleak Falls, got the
I mean
gear,
these days
did the
I go
got the
straight to Bleak
Dragon
Falls
Stone and did
Barrel
the
anyway. But
quest, did everything before even getting the Riverwood.
nice. I do love when
Got the
you.
gold claw, and he was like, "You found my golden claw." I was like, "Oh, um, I guess I did."
I do love in any RPG when you complete a dungeon or get an item before you're supposed to, and you go to
Mhm.
the quest giver, and they're just like, "Oh." Like I nowadays when I start a new playthrough, if I'm not doing the alternate start, if I'm playing normally, I make my way through Riverwood. I go to Hadvar's uncle or whatever. I loot his inventory because he gives me free shit. Um,
Yeah,
maybe I sell it back to him. And then I beeline it straight from Bleak Falls Barrow.
honestly, dude,
And I get the claw, and I get the dragon stone, and I go to Whiterun. And when I talk to Farengar, he's just like, it gives you the dialogue option. You're just like, he's like, I need you to go to get the dragon stone from Bleak Forest Fair. And I'm just, and the dialogue option is along the lines, oh, you mean this?
you're right. Honestly, the new Elder Scrolls could have the same dialogue and quest mechanics as Skyrim, but just updated graphics and updated gameplay and combat
Yeah.
mechanics and stuff like that. And it's a new world. It's Hammerfell and maybe High Rock too. Um, but the same exact questing mechanics, the same exact dialogue mechanics. Like no, we're doing anti KCD2. We're sticking to our guns. We're sticking to our antiquated
They just have
way
to
of
let you be a
RPG
maniac,
ways.
is what they
Yeah,
have to do. That's what
but just
Starfield doesn't do. That's the problem
keep
with
it
Starfield.
the
It doesn't let
same.
you just be a maniac.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you can be a maniac in KCD too.
Yeah, maybe it
Henry,
can
my
take
Henry's
some.
kind of sociopath.
Well, I was talking to Caleb earlier. I was texting him because he's been playing it too. He says he's
Yeah,
about 40 hours in. Uh, and uh and we both agreed that I'm like I am because we were talking about stuff you can steal.
yeah,
And he was like he was like because he just got to the second like map and he was just like advice for when you're still on the first map. Get as much money as you can
right.
because everything's so much more expensive. And I was just like, yeah, I'm like trying to play a pretty honorable Henry, but the game, the temptation to steal and grave rob is so high.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
Oh, and also Mutt is a good boy, and
Mutt's
I'm
a good
glad I
boy.
got him early. I
He's the best boy since dog meat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great dog mechanics in a game.
Yeah. I don't even use him that much. I don't like I know that you can have him go find stuff
Well,
for
he's a
you.
good passive.
I just have him follow me around and he helps me in combat a little bit and I'm
Yeah.
cool with that. I give him meat.
Hmm. Well, he's a great example of a passive companion.
I make sure when I go to a tavern and I get food for Henry, I also get food for Mutt. It's
Of
important.
course.
Yeah.
Um, I did start playing. The only new game I started playing actually was the new Prince of Persia, um, the Forgotten Crown or the
Oh
Lost
yeah.
Crown.
How is that? I've heard it's good.
Um, but yeah, I saw a ton of reviews on how it's an amazing Metroidvania, one of the best in years, on the same levels like Metroid Dread or something like that.
Mm,
Um, and it's you like truly when Ubisoft just lets developers make a game without worrying about the bottom line, about microtransactions and live service, they can
yeah.
cook and put out good stuff. And
Ubisoft has
Prince
some
of
of the
Persia,
best franchises and IPs.
hmm
They just need to,
their execs are just ruin it. They're
yeah,
the
they just need to trust the
stockholders.
developers to actually make a good game. It's their
Hmm.
business model, I think, that's ruining them.
Hmm.
Um, of
Oh,
course, and
they're imploding.
I don't know what their behind the scenes of the business is like. Maybe it's not just the business model. Maybe it's one of those things where like they're so big that they have to have some kind of business model like
Hmm.
that to be sustainable.
Right.
So like maybe they're too big for a more consumer friendly, and maybe that's a problem. Maybe that's a thing with games now where
Bigger they are,
large,
the harder
bigger
they fall.
companies are by their nature can't be consumer friendly.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I mean I don't know. I'm not
the new Prince of Persia is a great example of Metroidvania. It runs great on the Steam Deck, 60 frames.
nice.
It looks great on the OLED. It's on the Switch as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but the parry timing's great. The exploration feels like a Prince of Persia game, but a Metroidvania style, even more Metroidvania than previous Prince of Persia games.
nice.
Um,
I do
and
like a good
yeah, it's
Metroidvania.
just got a
Yeah,
good flow. It's got a nice art style. Um, Great game. It's a
nice.
fun time. I love it on the deck.
Yeah,
I don't play a lot of games like that on my PC, like on my actual monitor on my PC.
that feels like it's probably a good game to for the deck.
Yeah.
It's stuff like in the deck can do all this, but like I still pull out my Switch
Hmm.
because there are certain games that I'm just like the Switch for me is very like it's smaller than the deck. It's just easy to pick up and play. And there are games that I'm just like, they play very well on the Switch. I have them on the Switch.
Yeah,
I don't need to take up the hard drive space on my
dude.
Steam Deck, especially when I have these 100 GB games that I've taken up space.
Yeah.
If I want to play Black Flag, I'm probably going to play it on my Switch because there's no reason not to when,
Mhm.
like, yeah, I could play it on the Steam Deck. I'm sure it runs fantastic on that, probably better even, but like the Switch version is a great port and it's a good console to play on, and I don't need to take up the hard drive space on my Switch
Dude,
for
I
the,
can
or
tell
on my
you,
Steam Deck for that.
I don't know why I haven't done it, why I don't do it now, but actually just hooking up the Switch like on my desk by my PC and just having the
Hmm.
Switch ready to go as well
That's
on the
I have
second
it right
input.
here. Yeah, it's right next to my computer monitor.
But when the Switch 2 comes out, definitely gonna be doing that with that thing
Yeah.
because it's gonna have the actual power and GPU to actually justify that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fact that it's gonna have better performance when it's docked,
Yeah.
obviously more power. It's not just going off a battery. Um, but I feel like that's gonna be a Christmas release this year.
It seems like it. Yeah.
I have
I
a really
know.
good feeling that
I think
we're gonna get it
April
this
is we're
year.
supposed to get more information about
Yeah,
it in
Nintendo
April.
Direct,
Um,
and
that'll be cool. I'm
it's gonna be a final fourth quarter release.
yeah. Um, I'm worried about scalpers, but Nintendo has said that they're gonna try to be on top of supply and demand.
Well, yeah, because a lot of times it's artificial
Yeah.
lack of
Um,
supply. Release a limited
so
run,
yeah, I mean, I think
build
Nintendo
up
should
the
just take advantage of
demand.
scalpers and be like, hey, if they want to buy our shit, they can buy our shit. We're just gonna keep making more stuff for the other people too.
Yeah, yeah, just make a
Just
shit ton of them.
just make enough where the scalpers are still gonna try to buy it at first, and then
Hmm.
yeah. But I'm excited for that. I think it'll
Yeah,
be cool. I mean, we'll see. We'll see with more information, but that might be the
I just wonder what the new Nintendo thing is gonna be about it, like the new
yeah,
like
maybe
tw spin
the
on it.
mouse thing or that they're
Yeah,
hinting at maybe. We'll see.
yeah, like
Yeah,
yeah. I'm thinking like yeah, if I had it on my desk, I could just take it, use it as a mouse
that'd
with
be
one of
pretty
the
cool.
controllers.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna just hook up mouse and keys to the Switch?
Are they just making a PC?
Well, it is gonna be a Steam Deck competitor,
Yeah, I
and
mean,
having it even though you can do the Steam Deck dock, still never be the same as the Switch. Taking the Joy-Cons off
yeah,
and or just propping the screen up so you have a little monitor of itself. You
yeah.
know,
I
I
do that
love that's one of my
sometimes.
favorite things about the Switch.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't just have to hold it and play it that way. I can remove the Joy-Cons from the screen and then use the kickstand and play it at a desk or any
yeah,
random location and have a
and
almost console experience
yeah,
like on my patio,
and and
like
and this is a weird one, but at least
what I want.
for like more casual games, which is mostly what I play on the Switch.
Mhm.
Um, honestly, the split Joy-Cons is a very comfortable way to
Oh
play
yeah, you could
at least casual
just
games because I can just be like
just straight.
just stretching out like that.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to have like one controller, just
Yeah.
one in each hand. And of course that's for
Like, oh,
more
what's my hand doing here?
yeah, and of course that's just for like casual stuff, but like that's what I play on the Switch anyway, for the most part is casual stuff. Like
Get Hades on the Switch.
I
I
do.
think that's the best Switch game.
I have 80s on this. Yeah,
Well, the
it's
best third party.
yeah.
Um, anyways,
It's getting late
yeah,
here.
one other thing I wanted to mention real quick, and I'll keep us up to date as I go. I've started a new thing. I have a good enough vinyl record collection now where I'm
Mhm.
like, okay, I need to stop buying them and just start listening to what I have. And I've decided, and I think it's gonna be a fun experiment just to see, get a feel for my collection, get a feel for, how diverse is it, how much of the same bands I have, or how much different genres, like things like that, and just like what kind of collection do I have working here?
Uh-huh.
Um, Listening to it from A to Z
Oh, nice.
in alphabetical order, and
Yeah.
then chronological. Like once you get to an artist, if you have multiple albums, obviously going in chronological order, I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
But but yeah, listening from A to Z. And yeah, I just listened to Arctic Monkeys album. Now I'm on Alice in Chains.
I
Um,
gotta send you my Adam and the Ants
oh, that's
record.
awesome. You have an Adam and the Ants record?
I do.
That's great.
I don't I think I got it in a used record bin at some point. I don't remember where I got it.
That's awesome. Um, but then yeah, I actually have Amy Winehouse, so that's gonna be interesting to listen to her like right
Nice.
after
I love that.
Alice in Chains, and then,
Yeah, you
but
sent me
yeah,
a video earlier. You were listening to Alice
yeah,
in
yeah.
Chains. Yeah.
I'm on Dirt
Cool.
right now. Yeah, I have one
Nice.
more. I have Jar of Flies. Um, the acoustic EP. And then, well, it's Jar of Flies and Sap, I think. But
Mm,
then I have Amy Winehouse after that, so that's gonna be an interesting turn.
nice.
Um, but yeah, I'll keep you updated and keep you posted
Hell
where I
yeah.
am in my collection at the time
Yeah,
of
we got to
recording.
do an episode just talking about our vinyl collection sometimes
Yeah.
because I don't have like an extensive collection, but I have a pretty decent sized box full
Hmm.
of vinyls. Uh, yeah.
And yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting, and it's gonna force myself to listen to my actual entire collection, which I've never come close to doing. At this point.
Yeah.
There's albums I still haven't even listened to, just sitting there.
I have a few albums that I've listened to
Um,
maybe once.
or yeah, just listen to
Like
once.
I think somewhere in that box back there, I have a Tchaikovsky like orchestra
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
vinyl. And I don't know where the hell I got it even, but I think
I have
I've
a
maybe actually put that onto a record player like once.
I have a Mozart album
Nice.
that I got at the Humane Society
Hey,
um
if you're into
for like five
classical,
bucks.
if you're into classical and you're into like lesser known old jazz stuff, thrift stores
Oh,
are
a
a
gold
treasure
mine.
trove
Yes.
of that stuff. You can find so much in there of yeah, just classical and like old but not popular jazz
Yeah, you're not
stuff.
gonna find Kinda Blue.
Yeah. Uh old country albums. You can find a
Hmm.
lot of them depending on where you are,
Yep.
you know. Uh
I
but not the popular stuff, not Johnny Cash.
I've been
We're talking
mhm.
maybe if you're lucky some Kingston Trio.
I've
Oh,
been on the hunt for headhunters. No pun intended.
yeah.
Herbie Hancock can't find it anywhere.
That would be really cool. Yeah.
But and I've come across Kind of Blue multiple times. I'm like, I know I need to get it. It's
Yeah.
a
I
matter
mean
of
that's
time.
kind of Blue is a popular enough album where it's
Mhm.
like it's probably not that hard to find that one.
No, it's not.
It's there's so many.
I've seen a lot of Bitches Brews.
Yeah.
That would be a good one to have.
Yeah.
Because
No.
right now I just have Duke Ellington and John Coltrane,
Hmm.
um, and
I've got a
Amy Winehouse, if
I've
she
got a
counts.
jazz flute album of some kind
That's awesome.
somewhere. I think I have a Christmas jazz album in that box.
I got my first soundtrack album for the first time, the
Yeah.
Scott Pilgrim soundtrack.
Oh,
They were
yeah, yeah.
playing the Sex Bob-ombs at the record store. I was like, oh,
Nice.
I wonder. And it was like the one of the first ones or no, in front of the soundtrack section. I mean,
Nice.
obviously, I went to the S's,
Yeah.
but just grab
I have
that.
vinyl of the Big Lebowski soundtrack.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Um, but anyways, yeah, I'll keep you up to date on my vinyl collect, my journey.
Hell yeah.
Um,
Nice.
but yeah, on Alice in Chains Dirt, I still have one more side to listen to on that one.
Nice.
Probably not tonight. Probably wouldn't be a good idea. Um, but yeah, it'd
Nice.
be fun.
Well,
anyways, I think that was a good episode there. Nice
yeah.
chatting with you. Um, Up next week or later this week, depending on when we get around to it, we have another Odd Drunk podcast episode.
Yeah.
Episode 199. It's a
Whoa,
mystery.
we're so close.
I know. We're edging. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways.
All right.